Have you heard the news, my friends? President Obama has inherited an economic mess from the Bush administration. This is from an article entitled Obama Excuses Wearing Thin from the Chicago Sun-Times. You say you've hardly heard this news? But it's been the message sounded over and over by the White House. Top Obama advisor David Axelrod said on one of the many Sunday news shows, quote, he walked in the door, we had the worst economy since the Great Depression. In San Francisco, this is what Barack Obama was saying.
I'm busy, and Nancy's busy with our mop cleaning up somebody else's mess.
That's right. In San Francisco,
we don't want somebody sitting back saying you're not holding the mop the right way.
He talked about being busy with our mop. White House heavy hitter Rahm Emanuel used the worst economy since the Great Depression line on the public TV news shows on Sunday. The Chicago Sun-Times says that you'd think it was October 2008, the final month in the Obama presidential candidacy, rather than October 2009, 9 months into the Obama presidency. Yet, the Obama White House is in full-fledged campaign mode because it needs to mask the shortcomings of the Obama presidency. Take, for example, says the Chicago Sun-Times, all the talk of inheriting the worst economy since the 1930s crisis.
My administration inherited a deficit of over $1 trillion. But because we also inherited the most profound economic emergency since the Great Depression.
Okay. Got it. The most profound economic crisis since the Great Depression. That came into response to the news that the federal deficit hit $1.4 trillion.
We are going through the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
Got it.
We've lost now 3.6 million jobs. But what's perhaps even more disturbing is that almost half of that job loss has taken place over the last 3 months.
Yet just a few months ago, the Obama camp was signing the stimulus package, and they were singing a different tune. Because it was under criticism for the $787 billion stimulus package that it bulldozed through Congress on the grounds that massive spending was needed to keep the unemployment rate from breaching 8%. When joblessness hit 9.5% in June, Vice President Joe Biden said,
the truth is, we and everyone else misread the economy. The figures we worked off of in January were the consensus figures of most of the blue chip indexes out there.
Okay, so they inherited the worst economy and the worst economic situation since the Great Depression. And the economy turned out to be worse than they thought. Which is it? Can anyone answer that question? It can't be both. The Chicago Sun-Times says, unless your brain is completely addled by the Obama charisma. Obama is still popular, but polls show that the public is losing faith in his policies. We'll give you those polls from CNN here in a few minutes. Another indicator was Saturday Night Live, a skit lampooning Obama for the major accomplishments of his administration, Jack and Squat.
Looking at this list, I'm seeing two big accomplishments, Jack and Squat.
Now, if the honeymoon is ending with the American voter, it isn't for the obsequious elements of the mainstream media. CNN prostrated itself, fact-checking the Jack and Squat skit.
I said
Saturday
I'd make improvements in the war in Afghanistan. Is it better? No, I think it's actually worse.
But is there any truth to this?
They got some things wrong. For example,
Bill Adair, editor of PolitiFact.com, a nonpartisan fact-checking website that rates the statements of elected officials, says SNL missed the mark on some of its claims. For instance, Afghanistan.
I think SNL tended to kind of gloss over what is a fair amount of progress by this administration about sending 2 additional brigades to Afghanistan. We rated that a promise kept.
That is unbelievable.
This just in, MSNBC has just fact-checked last night's SpongeBob SquarePants episode.
I mean, when have you ever seen that done?
Unbelievable.
The Krabby Patties are not that expensive, and they need to make sure that the people know it.
Nor do they taste that good, frankly.
They're okay.
Sometimes they're stale.
Chicago Sun-Times continues, but that's harmless compared to the virulent campaign against Obama critics carried out by the denizens of MSNBC. Its Obama acolytes seek to demonize opponents of Obama's policies by focusing on most marginal corners of right-wing politics, like, for example, the birthers, who deny that Obama is a natural-born citizen. The larger scheme is to imply that Obama critics are racist.
Janine Garofalo, good to see you.
Thank you. You know, there is nothing more interesting than seeing a bunch of racists become confused and angry at a speech they're not quite certain what he's saying. It sounds right to them, and then it doesn't make sense, which... Let's be very honest about what this is about. It's not about bashing Democrats. It's not about taxes. They have no idea what the Boston Tea Party was about.
That's right.
They don't know their history at all. This is about hating a black man in the White House. This is racism straight up.
You don't even know what the Boston Tea Party is really all about. That's the backdrop to the story of Rush Limbaugh getting booted from a group bidding to buy the St. Louis Rams. He was smeared on CNN and MSNBC with false accusations of making two racist comments. He is an abrasive critic of Obama, so he must be racist. Or so goes the left-wing storyline, writes the Chicago Sun-Times. They continue, I wouldn't defend everything Limbaugh has ever said, but lies were used to blacklist him from professional football for his political views. Recently, an MSNBC personality accused the U.S. Chamber of Commerce of lobbying for policies that amount to being treasonous to this country.
Tom, that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. If I set up a business where I can speculate, let me finish. If I set up a business where I can speculate with your money, Tom, where I can go to your account and you're every taxpayer in America, and the more I speculate with, the more I make, of course I'm going to speculate until the thing blows up. So unless the government and people like you that lobby to the exemptions that allow banks to do that get out of the way, we will never have fair play again in this country, and we'll have job creation by virtue of taxpayer theft, which is ultimately destructive and I would argue treasonous to this country.
Did he say job creation through taxpayer funds?
Yeah.
And that's treasonous. Do I have that right? Job creation through taxpayer funds.
So the stimulus would have...
Don't think it through.
Okay.
Remember how, writing in the Chicago Sun-Times, remember how liberals roared in outrage at any hint of their patriotism being questioned for criticizing the Iraq War. Well, it is the left that doesn't shy from attacking the patriotism of those it dislikes. Recall the repulsive MoveOn.org General Betray Us ad against Iraqi commander General David Petraeus. Recent opposition to Chicago's Olympic bid was cast as a sign of lack of patriotism among Obama critics. An MSNBC blast against the chamber appears to dovetail with what the Politico newspaper reports is a White House and Democratic effort to marginalize the business organization that echoes the administration assault on Fox News. It says Fox isn't a news organization.
It's not so much a conflict with Fox News, but unlike, I suppose, the way to look at it and the way the president looks at it and we look at it is, it's not a news organization so much as it has a perspective. And that's a different take. And more importantly, is not have the CNNs and the others in the world basically be led in following Fox.
I'm not concerned. Mr. Murdoch has a talent for making money, and I understand that their programming is geared toward making money. The only argument Anita was making is that they're not really a news station. If you watch, it's not just their commentators, but a lot of their news programming. It's really not news. It's pushing a point of view, and the bigger thing is that other news organizations like yours ought not to treat them that way, and we're not going to treat them that way. We're going to appear on their shows. We're going to participate, but understanding that they represent a point of view.
The White House is trying to dictate who's a news organization. Democrats are out to gut the Chamber of Commerce. Obama media allies damning Americans as racist, unpatriotic, and now treasonous. Is this the America Obama promised when he campaigned to end the cynical and divisive politics of the past? That's in the Chicago Sun-Times.